Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm so running behind schedule here because this is in honor of the community poetry reading from 1 to 3 p.m. I thought that I would wear silver and I've got lipstick on that I had for my show, for my book In Depth. And so it probably looks really strange, but I thought I'd try it and go with silver, especially going with the shirt for the current events that are going on right now. But I was going to share with you in this reading 2 poems from the most recent release from cc&d magazine. This is the April 2023 issue, and it is called Claustrophobia. And I'm going to share with you 2 poems that are in this book that are also in the Cyberwit 2023 book that I haven't even had the copy shipped to me yet, because it's that recent. That is titled Testament. And so if you look online, you'll be able to find it. But currently, I don't have a copy yet. I know other people have been purchasing copies, but I haven't even seen the book yet. But anyway, I'm going to share with you 2 that are in both of these books. This first one is titled Jihad Against Free Choice. Bypassing my poli-sci school prerequisites, I'm sure my early U.S. high school history class taught me the 10th Amendment clearly. Powers not stated in this Constitution, quote, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. When the United States was founded, that worked, and we were all separate nation states. Until we made a Federal Reserve, until we mandated a federal income tax. And yes, Congress may have created the U.S. Army, but in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 12, it stated, and let me quote, "The Congress shall have the power to raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years." Even through the Civil War, armies existed by state. But now, war becomes national. My military husband will quickly state that all recruits start their services with tours of 4 to 8 years. If we support our Constitution so, then why do we allow our government to break its rules by forcing people to serve at a minimum 2 to 4 times longer than they're politically, legally supposed to? My point is, even if the national government breaks its own laws, once they created national banks, taxation, armies, that is when we lost our autonomy as individual nation states. We're all one now, like it or not. And the overturning of Roe v. Wade explicitly pointed out that choice is too far for a national government, that power should remain with the states. So yeah, in principle, I get that. I don't like a national government taking my rights away, but Roe v. Wade didn't take our rights away. And after signing this one document that has given the go-ahead to let our states try to do that instead, we then learn the Christian Jihad Coalition Against Free Choice will try to force their beliefs on everyone and take rights away from over half of its people. Is that how our Constitution is supposed to work? By the people, for the people, for we, the people, don't like one religion trying to tell us what to do. Since the beginning, we've dealt with "in God we trust" on our money, and they changed the Pledge of Allegiance to include "under God," thanks to Eisenhower, because us Americans were supposed to be better than those godless communists. Though I do remember seeing far too many elaborate churches when I visited St. Petersburg. And I'm no history buff, but now that I think about it, let's get back to that First Amendment, and I quote, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion." This is before free speech or freedom of the press. And I bring this up, the first words of the First Amendment, because over half of these United States now try to establish their religious beliefs by suppressing the rights of over half the people. Isn't that just one more thing expressly forbidden by our Constitution? And really, I'm no history buff, But it doesn't take much reading to find so many things going wrong after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It's a shame to think that we need to pass more laws to get our rights back, because I don't think marches are going to solve this one. Granting rights to rational choices have only come after fighting tyrannical religious dogma for centuries. Our people can't wait that long. When we've had our rights, we can't go back to suppression, repression, oppression. We know better. We deserve more. And you can't fight reason forever. That was one piece in the end of the poetry section. Different sections in cc&d magazine: poetry, the passionate stuff. Then toward the back we've got poetry, the Me Too section. It's had other things as well, but this has these two poems out, which I'm sharing with you. I like this one. I hope you guys do too. This is called On a Sunday After a Sermon. On a Sunday after a sermon, services in some small town. Wait, the town's not that small. Maybe it's just small-minded. Overheard conversation from 3 men in a restaurant after they attended church. Went something like this. I personally believe women are not as strong or intelligent as men. Some women may appear intelligent. Take Marie Curie as an example. She seems smart because she is said to have discovered radium, but really, she relied on her husband Philip and took the credit from him. This church-going man from that somehow small town also said something about the French not being that smart either. Fuming in my seat. I wanted to be able to strut over that booth with her husband's name was Pierre, and if it were Philip, it would have been Philippe. But he helped her, the woman who worked with Einstein, and after her husband died, she took over his professorship and still was doing her own work. After she was the one with the Nobel Prize who moved to France to work, and the element she discovered was named after her home country. And this is when I remembered what a futile point it was to ever use reason or logic when religious men have sexism on their side. They've always made their closed minds up. What good would showing them the truth do? Saying the French aren't as smart doesn't help this ignorant man's argument when Marie Curie isn't even French. But at least the French are smart enough to strengthen women's reproductive rights choices after the religiously inclined men, where this ignorant man is from, opted to take those rights away from women after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This is the battle every being faces now. Siding with reason and logic and common sense versus siding with sexist religious dogma. And it might be tough when you're raised to believe in a God and your intellect pushes the boundaries of your religious beliefs. But as I said, this is a battle when religiously stunted, small-minded men never check their premises and decide to live on unfounded conclusions, choosing to ignore the truth. These are the moments I hold my head in my hands and I try to brainstorm over what my options are. I understand that in this nation we can't expect to be given rights unearned. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness means that we can work to earn what we deserve, not to receive unearned gifts on a silver platter. But after we've had rights, that doesn't mean rights should be taken away. When religious leaders beyond my control change the laws, this is why I hold my head in my hands while I still can. try to not think about a way out of this. Once again, check your premises. Women do have the brains for this. For it is now when I feel that as they take more rights from over half the country, that metaphorically my hands are tied behind my back. I'm just wondering if they're going to offer to place a cigarette in my mouth and light it before the firing squad comes in and takes aim. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you appreciated that first reading from cc&d magazine. I'm going to read more from cc&d magazine during this 2-hour time span in honor of the community poetry open mic space in Austin that had stopped because of the pandemic of COVID-19. So I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everyone is staying creatively inclined, and I will be back to share with you more in the very near future. Thank you. Thank you.